had sometimes talk about how everything has been somewhat generational in terms of what someone has had to do to arrive where they are. I don't know if you've ever talked to your grandparents about that, have you? Where they've been, how they arrived where they were, what they had to go through. What did you think of that when they tell you these stories? Grandpa, I don't want to do that, right? Is that what you did? Come on, tell the truth. Yeah, a little bit? Or you thought, yeah. Or you pull out your iPhone and start doing this. No? Okay. Well, good. So all of us have had a journey of some sorts. And so if you look at this, you have this one right here. Have you heard of her before? Susan LaFresh? Yes, famous woman. Right? First one. How about Carlos Montezuma? Have you heard of him as well? Right? People that, and you can keep going on and on. Native Americans that have done different things that have contributed in some way to the betterment of not only the country, but to the people that they've tried to help. Although, if you look at that, originally, I had some slides, and I thought we had to talk about it a little bit. Maybe I'll just say, people's perspectives about who you are and what one can do can be extremely broad. And when I said last night that I saw you and I was looking at you and I thought, what could one do? What could you do? I don't know if you thought much about that. Have you? What do you want to do? You're now in this program that you're in. When you're done, what do you think you'll do? Where could you imagine yourself? Right. So sometimes what you need to do, we have this Dr. Blair talking about what she had to do, right, in order to finally arrive there. Sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things along the way to arrive at the point that you can. Even myself. I've never heard that term urban Indian before. I've heard lots of different terms. And you grow a tough skin on the outside because you've dealt with it a lot in your life. But this is promising. When I see this type of behavior here, all their achievements that you've seen, I had told you a little bit about when I was at Montana State. I could keep going on. I was the first to graduate in the College of Engineering back in '94. You guys probably weren't even born, but anyhow, I think I'm getting old. But I was the first to graduate in the College of Engineering as a Native American. I was the first to graduate from Virginia Tech with a PhD. And everyone has a story. I'm sure Dr. Thomas will talk about probably one of the very first to graduate in different areas. And you see that there's many of us that have done different things, and we're one of the first generation, just like your grandparents talked about. The first is this first. And what we've tried to do is provide a pathway for you to be successful. I mean, have you ever seen an icebreaker before? Anyone know what an icebreaker is? No? So, have you ever watched that show Bering Sea? Fishing in the Bering Sea. Does anyone know where the Bering Sea is? Yeah. So it's up there, up near Alaska, and it freezes over because it's so freaking cold, right? It's so cold. So they'll have these icebreakers, which are ships that have really thick hulls, thick skin, right? And their job is to go through and break the ice so that others can follow behind. So other ships can do that. So once you break it up and you get this ice broken, as long as other ships start flowing through there, that stays open forever. Or forever in the sense of, right, so spring comes and it melts again, you start all over again. However, if no one follows behind you, you can guess what happens, right? The ice that was broken comes back together and it refreezes again. So all of us here that are talking to you, Dr. Thompson talked to you, you probably heard others have told you stories, your grandparents told you those stories, right? We were different icebreakers that had come forward and done things to try to make it, to try to provide a path for you to go forward, to overcome. I'm envious of you because of all the things that you're going to be able to do that are going to be opportunities for you. And I think that's going to be a wonderful thing. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. Now, Cornelius. Do anybody know these Corneliuses? Yeah, all of them? Yeah, sometimes, yeah, that's right. Back in in fact, my wife Erin was frequently think she thought I was cool. And then she found out later on that, well, I was a nerd. Secretly, I was secretly a nerd all the time. But I actually won dance contests for American dance. But anyhow, I'm pretty good at it. So I do wish I was Cornelius Bennett, but I'm a small guy, and that's not going to happen, right? And any of you guys remember this guy? Yeah. What was he looking for? Some gold, right? His ice pick, throws it up and goes, oh, dang it, not there yet. And I always was embarrassed when I was younger about this one. Does anyone know who this is? Some of the older ones in here, we totally know this one. Because they actually had action figures of all these people. Cornelius and Sarah and all these people. That was a hard one, because growing up in Montana, it's like Cornelius. There's almost no Cornelius. It's like, actually, I don't even know any Cornelius. Although sometimes I wish I was related to this man right here. Because then, anyone know who Cornelius Vanderbilt is? No. Nobody? Okay, Gabe, who is it?
He was one of the wealthy people in the early 20th century. What do you call it? Was he a robber baron?
He was the train name.
The train man. Okay.
Yeah. So you can look at all the different, these big Roosevelts that had all this power. You had J.P. Morgan, right? These big people that came and really shaped and formed this country in different ways. And Cornelius Vanderbilt was one of these people, incredibly rich man. I remember when I was living in Connecticut, they had this place where you're really rich, and all these rich people were in Rhode Island, and they would go up there during the summer because actually it's beautiful up there in the Northeast during the summer, and they all had their homes. One woman that had a home who was related to J.P. Morgan, the entire thing was made out of marble. And it came all from Italy, and it had to be red marble. So the whole house was marble. The walls were marble, the floors were marble. And it was just for summer. And it would come there for maybe a month, and that was it, and would go to other places. So Cornelius Vanderbilt had the same thing. So he has all these summer homes in different places. But sometimes I wish I was related to him. And of course, he's really cool in my mind. And I wish I was related to him as well. But I'm just glad I'm related to him like that. So anyhow, and of course, which my mom, which sometimes I went to religion at one time. I have a brother who's a pastor. And that was one of the callings that my parents wish I would have done, but I'm other than that. Which one? Oh, Israel. Actually, I'm not related to all those, but I'd say it was probably, if you talk to my mom and when my dad was alive, I'd say, a lot of the names that my family members have, which is a big family. We have a big family, 8 in our family, total. All of them have some of the religious names because that was what their hope was. You do this and then, your life will be better in some way, right? Because we give ourselves names for reasons. Names represent something in hope that you might achieve something else. Now, like I said, it'd be kind of cool if I was one of those guys, but that's okay. I'll accept who I am and what I do. So, you've heard this theme come forward, right? Why college? Why go to college? Why do it? There's other paths that you can do. What are some of the reasons why you're in where you are right now? Why have you chosen to be there? What is your hope by doing this? Where do you see yourself later? These are the questions that you have to think about, right? And I can tell you, and I told the story before, my original path was not the most traditional in any way. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But this is a question for you. And when we were talking last night and I saw you, and I really believe in my heart that you have potential that you just don't know yet. You're so young. This is a drop in the bucket for you right now. And what you want to do is push yourself and see who you can become. I sometimes think of it this way. So you grew up here, right? Let's imagine this. When you're 1 year old, and I took you as a child, and I put you in Japan, so now you have your parents that are from here. Now I put you in Japan with new parents, and they're Japanese. What do you think? Who would You'd speak Japanese, you'd probably speak Chinese. You would learn English, but you would still be on the outside the same person. But inside of you, there are other core things that make you who you are. But what has happened is the circumstances around you have altered everything. Right? So what we are hoping for you is that you can put yourself into an environment that can change your circumstances. And who you become as a result of that could be pretty dramatic in all ways. Which is exciting, right? It's that you have incredible potential. I always think of it like Aladdin. Right? What did they say about Aladdin? Remember that? When you had to go into the Sphinx, and what did they refer to Aladdin as? The diamond in the rough. Something that you just don't know yet what it is. So this is why I think you should continue forward. I would challenge you to seriously think about that, because there's so many things that you can do. Now, here's a picture of my father. He's a writer. Unfortunately, I don't have facial hair. That's one of those genetic features when you're native. Sometimes you don't get that. So, not happening. But well, my father was incredibly supportive. He went to Haskell, and my mother went to Haskell. That's where they met. He then shared some of his life. Basically, he grew up in Haskell. He was there since he was 10. He spent his entire time there. The original mission of Haskell wasn't to train you in the way that it is now. It was actually there to train you in a trade. And if you look at what Americans originally thought, the government, they thought that we as natives aren't really intelligent enough to learn more than that. So we would be best be taught to be in a trade of some sort, because that's what we do. We could do really well at that. But other things, not so much. This is in the early 1880s when we were saying these things. Now me, today, if I was there, I'd say, why do you think that? What has made you make that decision? And you can always find this throughout history. It doesn't matter what culture you're talking about. They'll make assumptions about you. So my background is that I learned a lot. I was like a very quiet person. All of you are very quiet. You are shy. You're more shy than I am today. But I did learn some things. And this is why I was telling you about this, if you grew up in Japan and this changed you. So I had not done anything really before, in the sense of life being challenging. I grew up in Montana. There was only 2 Native families in my high school. Literally 2 families, that was it. I was one of them, the Cornelius family, because we were big, so they knew a lot about us. But anyhow, there was only 2. And it was hard for us. And probably for me, the change for me the most, all of us have some life-changing event, is I joined the military because I wanted to try to change my life. So we were, earlier in the back, we had some talking about being at the University of Iowa and family, exciting them, right, and challenging them, so things happen to them. Even for me, that's the same story. I got married in high school. I had a child when I was a senior. I worked as a grocery store cashier first before I did anything. But then in my mind, I knew that this was not going to be a life that I could then use to help my children to be better, make it better for them in any way. I knew that. So I had to do something. I had to change that. And so what I decided to do originally was go into the Army. And that's what I chose to do originally. And thank goodness my recruiter talked me out of going full-time. I actually went into the reserves. But it taught me some things, especially in basic training. So what do you guys know about basic training, about any military thing? Do you have any family that went into the military? Yes. Did you go into the military?
No.
So what happened to her before and after? When she went in, she was quiet and shy. So it is very overwhelming. I think the first thing you experience, so for me, I said very shy guy, very shy person, I was taught to listen, when it's time to speak, you speak, right? This is traditional way in which we're raised, right? But when you get in the military and you're in basic training and they shave off all your hair and then they start challenging you every single moment, you people fall into certain groups and immediately you find out. Now, what I found is you have people that the majority of people will want to be followers because it's very stressful. But you're driven, it's easier to be a follower than anything else. Then there are some, because it's very traumatic to do this. Some, like you're talking about, this is not really the right thing for you, and so you stop. And so you see some people not make it through the process. And then there's another smaller group like me and others that said, I do not like people telling me what to do. I just don't like it. So after that, and other things you learn too along the way, like I'm very fluent in 4-letter words now, which I don't do anymore. Like I said earlier, I have a brother who's a pastor, and I even thought about going down that path. You can't use those 4-letter words anymore. But you become very fluent in that language. And why do you become that way? Because you get so stressed out that you have to, that your tolerance for things becomes small. And that means in all ways. So for me, what I learned, and all those around me learned, that we cared about 2 things: honesty, integrity, communally, working together as a team, and challenging each other. That is something that was very strong. And so when you learn those things, when I left, I learned that I am not going to let anyone say no to me. You have no right to say no to me. I'm telling you about my first experience when I went to Montana State, and I had the thermodynamics professor that said to me, "Oh, we've never had anything like you here before." And I wanted to say, "Oh yeah, I got some 4-letter words from you." But anyhow, instead of saying something like that, I said, "I'll show you. I will succeed where you said I could not." And I wish he was still around and probably died. It would be kind of awesome to go back and say, "Hey, look how many publications I have. How many you have? How much have you done? I've done so much more than you. You've been in it forever. What's wrong with you?" Right? Your thought that I could not do what you said was wrong in every way. Because this person had assumed what one could do. Just like right now, you have teachers and other people on the outside assuming that you should be a certain way. Assume that you can achieve something. And our goal is to say, no, that's not true. Don't allow that to happen. Sydney was up there talking about, it wasn't Sydney. Yeah, Rebecca. When she was talking about, I've heard these stories of, crab and bucket and all that kind of stuff. But I think in general, that's kind of what we feel, right? People think about it. They're trying to do more. You know what? Don't care about that. That's just a drop in the bucket. So that's what I did. And I worked, and it taught me things. The military taught me, again, I said to you, it taught me that I was going to say, I don't care if you say no, I'm going to do what I think I need to do and do. Here's my son, he's at me now right now. Daniel, all my kids are different things. Like I said, I was a pastor at one time. But I got to do some things that really inspired me to do the things I do. Now, when you go into chemical engineering or any discipline that you decide to go into, you're going to find certain things that you love. Now, Professor Earl, I didn't really talk to you about all the things you can do as a civil engineer, but there are also things that you can do as a chemical engineer, mechanical engineer, electrical engineer. So for me, when you finish, you're good at kinetics, thermodynamics, flow, all these things, and you think, which one do I want to choose? This is always the hard part. What do I want to do? So for me, I fell on this love of polymers because I worked for Dow Chemical, and when I did, I was involved in lots of different outreach activities during that time, but also I learned that I could take materials and design them using catalysts. And that just fascinated me that I could basically give birth to materials that don't exist and alter their properties by combining them in different ways. That to me was sexy. And of course I'm kind of boring, but to me that's exciting, right? To be able to design something you want. Like the glasses we have are some type of polymeric material, and if I change its composition, I can change its refractive index, and thereby making it either thinner or thicker, or make it do whatever you want it to do. First generation of contact lenses were based on what we call hybrid organic and inorganic materials, which are a combination of polymer and cellulose acetate-based materials and metal that made them soft and pliable and oxygen permeable, so you could wear them for hours, all day long. That's a polymeric material. So I fell in love with that. I had a chance to work at 3M, lived close to my brother in Aberdeen, South Dakota, which I had no idea that I got that cold. I'm from Montana. I don't even know, they should ban that state. It's just too cold. I don't know why. It's insanely cold. So anyhow, I thought I was familiar with cold, but that's not true. But this really inspired me to go and do graduate work. And the reason for that, just like right now, you're in a junior college, and there will be certain things you can do, and then certain things you cannot do. And so when I was at 3M, this is what really showed me that I had to go on further. Is I remember I was running a plant in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and I really wanted to do more research stuff, research-like stuff. And so I read, I read, and I knew a lot of stuff. And we had this one guy that came from, I'll tell you a story. He came from Notre Dame, but because he had a PhD, he got to run everything. But he had a background in catalysis and nothing about polymers or anything. Zero. But because he had a PhD, because that's the culture within many companies, this person was allowed to make all decisions and everything, even though they had no knowledge or experience. And that just frustrated me. And I remember trying to move within 3M to another division, and I kept getting the same response, which was, well, Chris, you don't have a PhD. Well, Chris, you don't have this polymer background. Well, Chris, you don't have that. It's like, well, okay, you're not going to say no to me. And so I decided to leave for that very reason, because people said no. Like I said at the beginning, this no thing, use it to your advantage. I mean, where do you really want to be? You guys are young. All the things that you can do are endless, right? So that inspired me to leave from there, finish my PhD at Virginia Tech, started an ACES program there, expanded there, and then I ended up being able to do a whole bunch of things because I would not let someone say no. That let me do all sorts of things. So I had a group. I actually had Russian scientists working in my lab for 3 years because they wanted to come work with me. We built this idea, had this crazy idea that I could take what we call a pressure swing absorber, which is basically a thing that has zeolites in it, which are like rocks, just like rocks, porous rocks. And I could take that and I could combine it with carbon molecular sieves, and then I could put it in combination with membrane, because I do membrane work. And what I could do is I could take oxygen from air. Does anyone know what the concentration of oxygen and nitrogen on air is? Yes. Yes. So what I did is I designed something that would take a combination of a PSA and membrane technology, and I could produce oxygen at 96% and recover 78% of it from air. So I have a patent on it. So I had research scientists from Russia come and work with me to develop this as a product. Again, the only reason I could do that is because I decided I'm going to go further than saying, I'm not going to let someone say no to me. That let me do all sorts of different things. So I had a company from, does anyone know who Sharp Corporation is? Sharp TVs? Yeah, Sharp Microwave. So I had Japanese scientists come from Japan to work with me. And they worked with me for 2 years to develop portable fuel cells that hopefully could sometime be used to power things like your radio, car, that range of things. So they came and worked with me to help do this. And all those things, and here's some desalination. So I helped mentor all sorts of different people. And again, if you go back to the very beginning, who was I? I was just some guy. So because I said no, and I said, I'm not going to let you say no to me, this kind of gives you a background of who I am. I've had a path, right? I've contributed in multiple ways. People know who I am based on papers I've written, more than just a poster. My background is such that I really am interested in the intersection of materials, water, energy, things that help society. That's what I'm really interested in. I like solving problems. And because of that, it's allowed me to work with all sorts of different people throughout academia, companies, and Toyota, Honda, Goodyear, Sharp. I could list a whole bunch of different companies I worked with simply because I was willing to turn that no into a yes and turn that yes into something else. So when I look at you, I say, I'm so happy to see that you're in college right now. But I would say, go further than that. Think beyond where you are. And like Professor Roulette was saying to you, you don't have to come here. You could go somewhere else. But the idea is that you could continue on, and there's such a successful road that's ahead for you. There's so many people as models for you. Yes, there's going to be challenges. That's just the way life is, right? Challenges. But you can turn those challenges into opportunities for you. So, here's some monetary reasons why you should consider that. It's funny that I'm going to tell you a story about a couple of years ago, maybe about 7 years ago. My brother and I, or my family and my young son, were playing a game of life. Have you ever played life before? Yeah? At least we can admit, right? What do you know about life, the game life? You said you played it. What do you know about life? Remember you said I saw you raise your hand. Did you say you played the game life before?
Yeah.
What do you remember about it?
You need to go on a board and
Yeah.
gather money, college farms, and
Yeah.
get
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's kind of a fun game, right? I mean, it's decisions, right? You have to make
Yeah.
decisions of what you want to do. So my son, when we start off the game, the first thing he decided right away is, I'm going to go and, what did he decide? I'm going to take the first career possible. So he chose the lowest bar of all. And then, everyone else said, no, we're going to go to college, and because of that, we thought, so we'll let you do. So towards the end of the game, he goes, because he had nothing, and he was broke, and he had 4 kids, and he was broke, and he goes, I should have went to college. I wish I could have filmed that, because it was so funny. But anyhow, that's, whether you're talking about that game or not, you can look at where you can be within this spectrum, right? And there's nothing wrong with any of these choices that one would make. But if you're hungry inside, and you know that there's more than that to achieve, that you know you can achieve more, this gives you a range, right? Where basically high school, you can go from 30 to well beyond $120,000 a year. One good thing, just by continuing forward. In doing that, you can have different opportunities like this one. I chose academia because I really wanted to try to help others, inspire them to try to think beyond where they are. Because I think it's necessary. So I sacrificed certain other things to be here. And that's okay, because it's fun. It's fun to be able to do. So, I know this always reminds me of Jude, Where's My Car? Did you guys just watch that show before? Yeah. Remember there's ordering food and it goes fly. And then, right? So, if you ever heard this comment, right? Why go to college? I'm sure you've probably heard this before. So you get a degree. So you get a good job. So you make more money. The opportunities that you're going to be hearing later on is there are many things that are in place to try to help you pay for college and help make it possible for you to grow so it's easier for you to succeed. I would say you want to take advantage of all those things that are there for you because they're numerous. And people want to see you succeed like me and this whole program. That's what it's all about. So, like Billy Mills, anyone know who Billy Mills is? Cool guy, right? My dad and mom went to school with him. But think about if he had stopped, right? He was originally at Haskell. I don't know if you know that or not. Did you know that? He was at Haskell first, right? Imagine if he had taken all those no's. You also get in the Marines, I think that might help him. But anyhow, he took all those no's and decided to take a challenge to go to KU, which then allowed him to have an opportunity to become an Olympic person, to win the gold medal. Imagine if he had caved into all those people that had said to him, you can't do that. you think you're doing. And because of this, now he's an inspiration to others and has a goal there. So when you're thinking about all these things, I know that all of us have some type of different background culturally. You can use those as strengths, right? You can use relationships to do that. We heard earlier, sometimes you have to overcome certain things, but in general, you know, there's lots of community that can help you be successful and take advantage of this. So when I see you, I see this. I see all these little different seeds, potential here, right? And the question will then become, who do you become, right? Not that I'm saying you're born or repair, right? But what I'm saying is there's something in you that could be significant, even more than what you know now, right? So I'm sure you've all read the speeches before, right? Don't let someone say because you don't have a star in your belly that you're not good enough. Don't let that be the thing that stops you. Don't let that occur. Don't let that be the thing that prevents you from becoming who you possibly could be, right? So, you know, Cindy Bull said, let's put our minds together to see what we can build for our children. Last night you heard stories, and they're, like I was saying earlier at the very beginning, there are generational things that are occurring here. You are a part of another generation. And the question will be, the things that you build will be benefits for your children and your children's children. And those could be serious. So the sacrifices that you are making, you may not see the benefit now, but maybe in another 30-odd years, you will see them. And it will be a wonderful thing to see. So, let me kind of finish right here and simply say, you're on this wonderful journey. I'm so excited to see that you have decided to come here. I'm thinking that maybe we'll come out sometime during the fall and give you a technical talk or something. Hoping you, of course, but I'm going to stop here. Like I said, you're on an interesting journey that I am jealous of because the opportunities that we have are far greater than when I began mine or when Dr. Thomas began his, because someone has helped pave the icebreaker for you to be more successful. And that's a challenge for you now. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to let it close up behind you? Or are you going to follow that? What your parents did, what your grandparents did. So I'm going to stop here because I have to teach. But I will give this a couple minutes if you have any